Hi everybody, and I'd like to welcome you to the 1,000 yards for $1,000 challenge. I'm going to be your host, David, and I want to talk a little bit about the premise of this challenge today and the equipment we're going to be using and just sort of my thought process on it and what our hopes and goals are. So, how this came about was I was talking with kind of a gear snob, long-range shooting friend. Guy with a $5,000 rifle that goes out to the range every week with his hand loads and stuff like that. And he's a good shooter, but he's also a gear snob. He thinks to shoot 1,000 yards, you gotta have your night force and your custom actions and your $600 barrels and stuff like that, and your $1,000 stock. I think that's kind of ridiculous, but so like any good friend, I kind of called him out on his bullshit. So we came up with a little bet. Our bet was I could build a rifle for $1,000 that would be more than capable at 1,000 yards. Now, more than capable is kind of a tricky term. So, because for $1,000, I'm not going to get a .25 minigun angle accuracy rifle. All that money he spends does get him something. I feel pretty comfortable saying I'm going to have a .75 minigun angle accuracy, maybe even a .5, but 10-inch plates at 1,000 yards is probably not going to happen. What I can say is going to happen is I'm going to be able to make kill shots on our bear-sized gong out there. So basically, a long-range hunting rifle. So with that in mind, we made our bet, and I set about finding our rifle. Now I did something a little different than what people should probably do. If all you're going to do is shoot targets at 1,000 yards, 243 is probably your answer. A Remington 700 tactical or bull barrel or varminter in 243 or 308 is a very capable rifle that you can get for $700. I spent more than that because I have different goals than just shooting targets. Like I said, this is going to be a everyman long-range hunting rifle. So with that in mind, I ended up with a Savage 111 long-range hunter in 338 Lapua, which is kind of ironic, shooting a sub $1,000 rifle with rounds that cost $3.50 each. But that's what I went with. And not just for the long-range hunting abilities, because Lapua is certainly a long-range hunting round. I don't have the calculations right in front of me, but a 308 round right out of the barrel is about matching the energy of a Lapua round at 600 yards, depending on all the variables. But, so that's the idea behind this, the selection of the caliber. But also, we are going to do something a little different. We're going to do 2,000 yards for $2,000, hopefully in the future here. That's kind of my stretch goal. We'll see how well this goes over and stuff like that, but I think that would be a lot of fun to take this rifle and put another $1,000 in upgrades into it, probably a scope, a 60 minigun angle base, a few other things, and shoot 2,000 yards. And that was a big decider in me picking out this 338 round, because we know the Lapua can reach out that far. No problems. So we'll see what kind of accuracy I'm getting out of it, and we'll see where we end up with all that, but it should be a lot of fun. So I'm going to kind of explain my equipment here. Like I said, Savage 111 long-range hunter, $900. I got to explain how much I've spent. We're going to keep close track of that. $900 out the door. Not out the door, I should say. There was tax and stuff, but I got to cheat a little. Retail on this rifle, I think, is $1,100 or $1,200. I don't think I've ever seen them for that much. Lapua is not a super popular round, at least in my area. It's expensive, so the rifles go for less. This was $900. I could have picked up a 110, but I did not have the funds to do that. That was, I think, $1,200 or something like that for a 110 with the AccuStock and everything like that. But AccuTrigger, all sorts of good stuff. I'm pretty pleased with this rifle. The muzzle brake on it is fantastic. I was a bit worried about how much recoil this would have and would it destroy my cheap scope. But between the muzzle brake and the big, soft butt pack here, it's really quite comfortable to shoot. I think you could probably shoot quite a few rounds through this before you started to get sore. Next up, we've got our scope. NC Star 6 by 24 by 50 mil dot. This scope cost me $80 at a pawn shop. Now, I had to go a little bit cheaper on the scope than I would have liked. If your sole goal is just to shoot that 1,000 yards and do targets only, you're going to have a little more wiggle room with those Remington 700s or another brand rifle that you're going to be able to put a little bit nicer scope on this. I like buying scopes at pawn shops, not name brand ones, not not Leupold or anything like that, because those generally aren't that great a deal. But if you can find a scope that's a good one, like a Vortex or something like that, that the pawn shop guy doesn't know what he has, he just thinks it's another cheap NC Star scope, you can generally get a really good deal on them. So, that's just something to keep in mind when you're at a pawn shop. Look at the scopes. You might run into something that's too good a deal to pass up. This was probably not too good of a deal to pass up. I probably paid about what this thing is worth. But, I've had this for years. It originally went on a 22 bench rest rifle I had that I needed a lot of zoom on. And, it works. It holds at 0. It works just fine on 308s and stuff like that. And overall, I've been pretty happy with it. This was a really good value buy. It's not perfect. Once you start to get really high magnification levels, past about 18x, it starts to fog up really badly. I generally don't go past 18x. In fact, I usually leave it on 10x, which is where the mill system is set to work. And it looks good. It's got good clarity. It's held up really well. It's been banged around a lot. It's got, the light up crosshairs and stuff like that work decent. And overall, it's been a solid choice. You can't beat it for 80 bucks. Now, I am worried about how it's going to hold up to this round a bit. This is by far the most powerful, a big Magnum rifle round is by far the most powerful thing this thing's had in my possession. But honestly, the scope has treated me well, and I expect it'll probably work for this. And that's how I'm going to get away with only spending $1,000. So, between the rifle and scope, we've now spent $980. That does not leave me much room for doesn't leave me much room for rings. Luckily, I didn't need much room for rings. I had these rings sitting in one of my boxes, just spare crappy rings that I had sitting around, that cost $7.95. That's what it says. Now, honestly, I am a little bit worried about the rings. What I will probably do is just go out and buy some Leupold Rifleman Series rings for 20 bucks, and I'll probably be a lot better off than these junkers. And that'll put me right at my $1,000. This is kind of where I'm worried about losing things. They're on and they're Loctited down and everything like that. They actually feel pretty good, but how they feel to the hand is a lot different than how they're going to perform on the rifle. So if we have any problems and I haven't replaced them, that's going to be the first thing I do, is go ahead and replace these rings and I might just do it anyways just because I can and I've got the budget. But that's going to be our setup for a 1,000-yard shoot. Other things might make an appearance, a tripod or a bipod or something like that. But I'm kind of thinking I'm just going to use a backpack. I'm just going to use stuff that, I'm not a big advocate for going out and spending a ton of money to try something new. And this is a way that you can have a capable everyman rifle that's going to be good for a lot of things for $1,000, but you're also going to be able to go out and shoot 1,000 yards. Maybe not competition shoots or tightest group shoots, but it's going to be a good rifle that's going to treat you right. And we're going to learn some stuff on the way and talk about some stuff. I'm going to talk about some smartphone apps that we can use to make ourselves a little more accurate. I'm a big fan of the Strelic, or however you want to pronounce it, and we'll probably talk about the Lupa ballistics app as well. And we're going to work on just shooting farther and farther out. We'll go, right now I've been waiting for the weather to get a little bit better to go zero my rifle here. It's just been blowing like crazy for the last 5 days, so I'm waiting for a nice calm day to do my zeroing, and then I'm not too worried about shooting in the wind, but I want a nice calm day for zeroing. Then we'll go out, we'll probably start at 500 yards. I've got a wonderful 1,000-yard range, just 20 minutes away from me, $5 to shoot all day. It's covered in gong targets and stuff like that. And we're going to go out and probably start at 500 yards and work our way out. And hopefully, by the time I've figured this rifle out and stuff, we'll be able to go out and just take make our first shot at 1,000 yards. Clean bore and all that. And I'll have accomplished my goal if I can make a kill shot at 1,000 yards, right off the bat one day. So that'll be that. Then we'll talk about moving on to the 2,000 yards for $2,000. I think that's about it. Next update will probably be me zeroing the rifle, 100 or 200 yards. I haven't decided yet. Probably 200. We'll see. And then we're going to talk about some other things too. I did kind of skip over. We're not just going to talk about, the free ballistics programs and stuff like that. We might cover a little bit of the rifle upgrades. I see people paying gunsmiths to do a lot of stuff that they've got, like mounting scopes. I see gunsmiths. There's tons of scope mounting videos out there, and there's a lot of pretty good ones. But I'll probably cover it too, just because I do it maybe a little differently, and I'm not going to make you go out and buy scope levels and all that crap. We can make do with what we have here. And we're going to cover shooting rests. I'm probably going to try and avoid using tripods. We're just going to use a backpack stuffed with our shooting gear that we need, just like you're out hunting. You've got your pack on, you're going to use that. When I'm out hunting, I usually have to have a bipod just because it's grassland and stuff like that, and we have to get above it. But that's the general premise. Should be a fun time, and I hope you guys join me and comment on the video and tell me what you'd like to see, and let's give this a shot. Have a good one.